Hello and welcome here on Instagram tonight to our live event. We will talk about healthy cows, happy farmers. My name is Michaela Heinrich. I'm a service excellence manager at GEA Farm Technologies, and tonight I will host this live event. As usual, I'm not alone. We want to gain as many insights into this important topic as ever possible, and that's why I have invited a true expert in the field of cow welfare, and that's my colleague Lena. Lena, welcome to our live event. Would you like to introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Michaela. My name is Lena Krippendorf. I'm working for GEA Farm Technologies in the headquarter in Böen now for 8 years. And I'm doing the global herd management support and consultancy. Means I'm supporting our colleagues in the different regions all over the world and our customers how to work with our automated milking systems, so with the dairy robot, with the dairy ProQ, how improve the herd management on automated milking system farms, as well as support with our herd management software. And as well, I'm also supporting for sure our conventional milking customers.
Again, Lena, a warm welcome to you. I'm really glad you could make it tonight. Before you and I start really discussing the topic of cow welfare, let me just quickly set the frame. Lena and I will talk round about 25 to 30 minutes, maybe a moment longer. And dear audience, if you have any questions while we are talking, please put your questions in the comments. We will try to answer them during our talk or at the very latest then afterwards. So once again, a warm welcome to our audience as well. Our topic tonight is about herd management and how that is related to cow welfare. And Lena, that brings me to my first question to you. I would really like to get an idea what inspires you to explore this topic of healthy cows and happy farmers.
Yeah, thank you. Very interesting question, but very easy to answer, to be honest. It's my daily job. So in my job, I'm working always with an holistic approach. So that means more or less I'm really trying to check all different areas on a dairy farm to improve really the herd performance as well as our performance of the milking machine. Because I think all of you know that it is not just one aspect which influences the success of a dairy farm. We have many, many different impacts on many different areas. So, in the end of the day, I really would like to find at least some little things to improve the performance, to improve the farmer's success, and one of the little screws I like to turn on my visits and on my during my supports is the well-being of cows, because we all know the well-being of a cow and the milk production are really working close together. And this is something I really observe in my daily job. And a few years ago, I was on a trade fair, and there was an old man coming or an old farmer coming to our booth with his walking aids, and he just asked me if he could check our mattresses for the beddings. Say, yeah, sure, feel free to just check it. And he knee down into the bedding on the mattress, and he said, yeah, this is comfortable and I like it. And I'm not quite sure if you can compare an 80 kg farmer with a 600 kg cow, but I think the important idea of him was really his care for his cows. So he wants them to have it comfortable. And this is for me a sign that this well-being and the cow welfare on a farm is really an important topic.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally love the idea of this rather old gentleman. So very funny example. Lena, you talked a little bit already about different factors that are relevant, and can you maybe give us some more details on those factors and why they are relevant?
Yeah, sure. Maybe I will start with some factors regarding the milking equipment at the farm, because I think especially in the area of milking equipment, we had in the last 10 to 15 years a significantly change in the quality in the way of milking cows, and this is something which really needs to be also understood by the service technicians, by the farmers, because in the end, our dairy robot, for example, can milk extremely gently and on a high producing level, but it needs to be checked on a regular basis and really needs to be serviced well. Otherwise, it is not really working fine. And this is something the farmer has to understood. We really need to check all the different impacts on the milking process. And because in the end of the day, and this is what I also meant with checking all the different areas on the farm, because our milking machine is also more or less just a harvesting machine. And I think if we maybe compare it to the harvesting of plants, and if we compare it a little bit with the field work, nobody would blame a combined harvester if the harvest is not good. So if we have really small wheat plants, for example, with small corns or very small maize plants, you would never expect that the harvesting machine will harvest a record yield in the year because you had maybe a bad weather periods or other influences, which, yeah, at the end are the reason for this bad harvest. And so we could also look at our dairy robot or at our milking machines. All the gears in the wheels or the wheels must work together so that we can really work out and have the best out of the machine and out of our cow herd.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that in such a great detail, because now this is totally clear how there are limitations to the milking systems, and that's also a good reason why we have to care about the well-being of cows. But I assume this what you said now are the factors that are more or less obvious, but there are certainly also factors that are not that easily to be seen. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, maybe one of these factors which is not easily be seen is the social factor of the cows as well, because also cows have social, yeah, social behavior, and there are some social factors. And I have a good example how this can, yeah, how or what impact this has on the milk production. Because some years ago I visited a farm and they ask us, we lose so much milk and we decrease in our milk production over the last years, and we do not really find the reason why. So they checked also the feed because, yeah, there are different things to check. But during our talk and our observation on the farm, we also found out that they have many group changes within one lactation. So on I think the highest level was around about 7 group changes within one lactation of a cow. And all these group changes were always a lot of stress, because you have to imagine you have always one big mama in the group. So she's the one who tells everybody where to go. And if a new cow is coming into the group, the big mama, I always call them big mamas, but they have to fight for the rank because they want to stay this first or the leading cow. And so this means more or less a rank fight in between. And if you could, or you could imagine, if you have every week maybe new cows entering the group and leaving the group, there were always these fights, which also meaning a lot of stress for the cows. And in the end, the stress had a lot of influence on the production of the cows. And we just agreed with the farm, maybe you could change your routine and your behavior. And they agreed and just started to keep a group after calving until the dry treatment. So I think they had around about 50 cows in one group, and this group stayed all the time. And they were able to increase again the milk production because they took one factor which influences the stress factor out, and this helps the cows a lot to feel more comfortable.
Yeah, I can understand that. That makes perfect sense that all this fighting and defending their places is really a struggle for them. Um, I assume that there are also some economical factors that are relevant. What about those?
Sure, also this influences. And I think we can talk here about this proactive instead of reactive behavior of the farmers or of the employees. Because normally proactive measurement or proactive measures are better and cheaper than reactive measures. So I would like to have here an example of maybe a mastitis. A clinical mastitis case might be good example, because if you have a clinical mastitis case, you will have a decrease in milk production immediately, so a big decrease in milk production, and you will always have also decrease in milk production over the whole lactation. So a cow will not reach her peak again. You also have high veterinarian costs, because the veterinarian has to check the cows, he has to give you medicine, so you have to pay for antibiotics or other treatments. And maybe this also influence, in worst case, the fertility rates. So you have many impacts and many costs due to one sickness, which could maybe be reduced if you see it early enough. So if you could act proactively and maybe reduce your cost, and yeah, help the cow to be healthy again by just observe them earlier.
That seems very reasonable, Lena. Thank you. I see that we have in our audience today people from Costa Rica, even from India, South Korea, and also from the UK, maybe some other countries as well. So, dear audience, this is a question that I want to put out to you. What do you think for yourselves? Are you more on the proactive side of things, or are you more like reactive? If you think you're proactive, put the letter A in the comments. And if you are more on the reactive side, please put the letter B in. The question, of course, goes out to the farmers. Are you proactive or more like reactive when it comes to cow welfare? So, Lena, let's wait a moment and see if there are some people telling us where they see themselves. Okay, I see a first A. Somebody is already very proactive. That's very good to see and to
Yeah.
hear. So this is an approach that other people think is valid.
I think at least you also should try to be proactive. If it is not possible, I think it is hard, really hard work to be proactive, because you need to really focus on it, change your routines maybe. But if you think, I want to act proactive, this is, I think, the first good thought, and this helps you with really changing your routines
Yes.
regarding proactive maintenance, proactive handling.
Yeah, I can imagine that. You already mentioned how all these things are like a big cogwheel and they are working together. So if you want to be proactive and somebody else is also saying they are already acting proactively, that's really a good thing. Okay. I assume that, and you already mentioned that, so it's not just my assumption, but we know that the health of cows is also really, really important when we talk about cow welfare. Would you like to talk about that a little bit, Lena?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I would like to start with an example of you and me, maybe, because I think everybody also in the audience knows that if you have, for example, a flu or an influenza, you can wear your brand new shoes, which are pretty nice and very comfortable, but in the end, you will not feel good. Even if these are the new shoes, which are so nice and you really like, but you feel sick and just you feel not good. And this is same for the cows. So if they really have a problem with the health, or just have be sick. Uh, they will not feel good, and you could do whatever you want. They are just, yeah, not on a good level. So on former days, we had, especially on smaller farms, on family farms, always I called him the old grandfather who has just one job on the farm, and
You have something with older gentlemen.
it is more or less what I meet on the farm or who I meet on the farm. But yeah, this man was always pushing feet, so it was his only job. Sometimes 5, 6 times per day, just go into the barn and pushing feet. He, while he is doing this, he's always observing cows. So he's pushing a little bit, checking the cows, pushing a little bit, checking the cows, looking around, and maybe at lunchtime he's sitting together with his son, with the employees, and he's saying, "Hey, this morning, yeah, cow number 17, Emma, she was not looking great. I think she has an issue." So he was doing a very good job just observing the cows.
Mhm.
And today, this is not that common anymore, I would say. So we need to use more the artificial intelligence, our data, what we get from the system, from the software, and this is possible to do the work again. What the grandfather did by pushing the feedback, just checking the data. And I think another point is also really to try to be proactive in the health of the cows, work together with, yeah, veterinarians or with herd management consultants, because they have another look on your farm. You're working every day on your farm, so you get maybe blind for some things. But if someone is coming completely new or not just coming once per year, they might look in other corners or just on another view. And I had this once. I visited a farm. Um, they had a big rotary from GR, and I think also someone wrote something regarding proactive hoof care, so hoof treatment. And on this farm, the customer told me, "You have problems. My cows are not going by their own. I have to push them a lot. They not really." Yeah, they have a lot of hoof problems. I need to treat them. They have injuries on the hoofs. And for me, it was a sign. We have many impacts also on hoof care, on the hoof health. But I just asked him, let's go into the barn, check the barn. And we did it. We go with our rubber boots into the barn. On the feed table, everything looked good. And I just asked, where are the cows going next? So out of the barn, yeah, this alley down, and then there's the waiting area. And then I just go with him the way the cows are going. And we end up in the waiting area. And I saw in the waiting area in the concrete very sharp corners. So the cows, sweet time milkings, around about 1 hour in the waiting area. We had 3 hours in this waiting area on the concrete with sharp corners. And I just explained it, and the farmer was, yeah, I didn't think about it. And he invested into rubber mats. And in my next visit, I just saw the cows jumping in the waiting area. And he said, I do not need to push any cow. The treatments are so low now. And yeah, it was just helping, getting healthy again, and everything else was solved by its own.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Um, so you've already talked a little bit about it, but would you like to give our audience some practical ideas what they can do, or what farmers can do basically to create the optimal farm environment?
Yeah, easy to say, hard to do, I would say. I would just recommend observe the behaviors of the cows. They will show you if they feel comfortable or what could be improved. Um, just as an example of the cows, if 95% of the herd are staying in the front of the well, in the first section of the barn, and just 5% are in the last section of the barn, you should maybe check if the air condition is good there, if there is some smell in the air, or if there's no light or too much light. So just go to this area and find out why just 5 cows laying down, or 5% of the cows laying down there. And yeah, I think that's a good way to
Oh,
start.
What you're saying, Lena, is try to feel like a cow. That's really a funny advice, but again, I think it's very practical. So, meanwhile, we got a nice comment from Milad Gomi saying, I like Gea. Well, we are happy to hear about that. We like Gea as well. And also, somebody from Chile has come. Again, welcome. Now, again, our audience, please, if you have any special questions to my colleague Lena, just put it in the put your questions in the comments, and Lena will have some time to answer them. Lena, when we started our talk today, you also said that you are following a holistic approach because you think that's needed to maintain cow welfare. Would you maybe tell us a bit more about what that really means in a daily business for you?
Yeah. Um, I think we need this holistic support to really reach the best performance or the best possible performance, because we talked also about it. The milk production is like a machine, and we have many gears that have to mesh to keep the machine running. So, in the end, if one little cog is not in the right position or is loose, maybe, um, the machine is not working as it should. So,
Mhm.
just maybe um, the awareness and concern about among the customers and consumers should be also one of our points to really think about, because especially in the last years, the treatment and the housing of the animals is more and more in the focus of the consumers. So they want to know what's going on, and they also do not just look on the package of the milk. They also want to look, if they could, in the barn, see the cows, see if everything is good. And this is why I'm always looking with this holistic approach, I would say, to really look to all this. Also customers would look like. And for example, also this antibiotic treatment is not that common anymore. And in different countries, they also have to reduce it for the dry treatment period, for example. But you could just reduce the number of antibiotic treatments if everything is okay before. So you could not set a cow dry without an antibiotic treatment if you have a high pressure of somatic cell counts, for example, in the lactation before. So every gear must, or the gears must mesh so that we can really work together on a good way.
Yes, I totally understand that. Mm. Maybe some people might think, oh, that's quite a demanding task. So we should probably mention that our farmers are, of course, not alone in this.
No, they are not. That's correct. We have a global dealer network, and I think your local dealer is always very close. So to the audience, just look around somewhere. There is a Gia dealer for, who can help you. And you can just ask them for support or for consultancy. They can check the routines on your farm. They can check the way the machine is working. And also, many dealers nowadays have herd managers, and these herd managers are also trained and have a standardized toolbox. So they really have the same procedures and ways like we have to really have a look to all these little cogs and yeah, start working with you together. So this should be the goal in the end, that you and GEA dealers, GEA head managers work together to have the best success on your farm, which is possible. And I always really like to say, please work together, do step-by-step approach, and really try to get a little bit more out, even if you're happy with your output or with your performance. There's still a little bit you can maybe improve.
Yeah, that's a very good approach. I totally like this step-by-step model. So, dear audience, if you are looking for the dealership close to you, please go to our homepage, gea.com, where you will find lots of valuable information, of course, about our products. And you will also see the dealer finder. And while you are there, if you feel up for it, please subscribe to our GEAR newsletter so you won't miss out on any news. Lena, back to you. Do you have any final thoughts or encouragement that you would like to share with our audience today?
Yeah, maybe just use a few minutes of your time to observe your cows. Um, I few months ago, I talked to a farmer, and he told me, Lena, I invited the class of my son, and they wanted to see how a dairy farm is working and what we are doing. And I just put some chairs on the feed table, and the children sat down. And I said, okay, you have now some minutes, look out for one cow, and you have to observe this one cow. And the children were really excited, and were talking, oh, look, my cow is now eating and my cow is now drinking. It was a lot of fun, I think, for them. But the most important thing is the farmer also stood 10 minutes on the feeding table just observing his cows. And he told me it was so nice really to have this time just observing them, because I found out some things I didn't saw before, because there was no time to really look in detail on how they behave, how the surrounding is. So just from time to time, take a coffee and some minutes and just go into your barn and see what's going on. I know there was a lot of stress on the farm, and normally the days are really um, completely packed with a lot of work and tasks, but maybe you can find some minutes to just go and watch what's going on. Because also the we should keep in mind that the consumers, I told it already, but the consumers are more and more, they want to know what's going on, and you have to build trust to them. So some farms are making an open farm day, for example, and for this day they will clean everything up. So they will clean every corner, and just keep in mind it could be that maybe tomorrow customers will come and will see, well, where's my milk produced, and they want to see cows which are healthy and which are in a nice surrounding and which feel really just good on the farm. So if you just do every day a little bit more, that would help a lot.
Okay. Thank you, Lena. That was really interesting and a lot of fun. And again, I've learned a lot from you. Thanks for sharing all your thoughts on this. So far, I do not see any further comments or questions. If there are some questions afterwards, as we said, we will, of course, answer them. Um, for today, we are already at the end of our talk, but of course, we will be happy to come back with some more live events in 2025. If you have any topic requests, any special ideas, just share them with us and we will see what we can do. Of course, we would be happy if you give us a like, and we would also like to say that this live event is going to be saved. So that means you can watch it afterwards as many times as you like, and you can also, of course, share it with your friends and colleagues. So, having said all that, Lena, thanks again to you for your time, for your valuable input. And thanks to our audience for joining us tonight. We wish all of you a very good time and we'll see you around next year. Thank you and bye bye.
Bye.